How do you make more money? How do you increase your company's growth or your company's success? Hello, YouTube. This is Dr. Dave Maslock talking about reciprocity.com, the sharing economy proofreading platform that I am trying to build. So you can check it out. The E is spelled with a 3. So many people actually think about this, I think, how to actually make more money, how to increase, particularly if you're in your 20s and 30s, you're kind of constantly trying to think about moving up in your career trajectory and thinking about how to actually accumulate more wealth, right? I think that's an important, very, very important thing that we think about because there's a lot of benefits that happen when you increase your wealth, right? So you can afford to take your kids to maybe better schools. You can afford healthcare. You can afford yeah, maybe a better home, maybe some stuff that you couldn't possibly do, maybe going on vacation. This is a really all these things are really important things of why we actually want to generate more money. I think before I can get into this, I'm going to give you the answer, and it's based on a very, very long history of research that's been going on in this area. So I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and we've been studying how firms make more money and how people make more money probably for the last 30, maybe even more years than that. And the answer is relatively simple, but it's actually quite difficult to do. But before I give you that answer, I think the first thing that you have to do is figure out why you need that money. So 80% of any particular problem or getting somewhere is figuring out what the problem is. This is a really tricky thing. 20% is only the solution to that problem. So this is why you have to think about why is it that you want more money? If you just want more money, just to accumulate more wealth, just for the simple fact of accumulating more wealth, or getting a bigger home, or increasing the prestige that you want to show off the number of watches that you have, different watches. Those are great if you're into that, but just simply accumulating more wealth just because you want to accumulate more wealth, or to increase the sort of prestige that you have, is actually not necessarily the best way to gain wealth and to increase your wealth, because there's two things that are going to happen with this. And then it's basically, this is sort of based on behavioral research. So the first thing is, if you're just accumulating wealth, just accumulate wealth, uh, you are far less likely to sort of stick through the difficult times of when it is tough to accumulate wealth. So one thing that we do know with accumulating wealth is that it's really tough at the beginning. Most things are very, very tough. They either take some sort of initial startup costs, it's going to cost you money, or it's going to take you a lot of grinding through something. So that particular moment of it is, if you're just doing it just to simply make money, whatever you're doing, you're not going to push through those moments. It's going to be too difficult. You're not going to be very motivated. The other thing, the second important thing when you're thinking about this, it's going to harm the relationships that you have. If you are simply just into um, accumulating wealth just to accumulate wealth, or make money just to make money, and to get a bigger boat and fancier this and that and all that kind of stuff, that's the only reason you're doing it, you're going to chances are you're going to burn a large number of relationships along the way. You're going to harm relationships. And a really important thing, and there's a professor at MIT, Bob Gibbons. I've been looking into some of the stuff that he's doing lately, and one of the things that is critical to the process of generating wealth and improving your business is actually the relationships that you have. So investing in sort of the relationships that you have, and that is where a large number, and actually a lot of network research talks about this, that a large number of your wealth accumulation comes from the different relationships that you have, whether you have sort of a very tight relationship with a couple of people that you can fall back on, or a large number of relationships that you can maybe look for different opportunities sort of loosely held relationships that you can look for opportunities. And if you're in that mindset that you just need to get ahead or do something just to make money, your chances are you're much more likely to burn those relationships, and that's going to cut off different opportunities. People are not going to rely on you because they're going to see through that kind of stuff. They're not going to help you out very quickly or at all when the sort of tough times are there. And you need that to actually sort of succeed and increase the wealth that you have to grow your company as much as possible. Because those moments, it's those tough moments are the times that you need to actually talk to other people. Or if you lose your job, you need to go find some different opportunities available. Those are the moments that you can actually move up in the career that you have. So you have to be very cognizant of that, why you're doing the wealth accumulation. So that's the first thing that you really have to think about. Why is it that you want more money? And the question that you, or the answer that you have, shouldn't just be because you're accumulating just for wealth. It should be because of something else is bigger and beyond you, that is a much more noble cause. If you can think about what that noble cause is, that's going to help you out in the long run with both sort of sticking through the difficult times and as well as building different relationships. So now into the actual answer, right? How do you actually make more money? There's sort of two fundamental principles here, and this is what we talk about in strategic management, is we have to both generate some sort of value for other people. You have to generate as much value as you possibly can. Make it so it's somebody else, you're solving somebody else's problem. That's really the basics of it. Then you have to figure out some small, tiny way to appropriate just a small and tiny, small amount of that value that's generated. If you appropriate all of the value that's generated, and what that's going to do is it's going to sort of squash the amount that people are actually going to interact with you, and the your company is not going to grow nearly as much. You are not going to generate nearly as much wealth as you possibly could by doing that, right? So you have to think about that, how to make more money. You have to make it such that it is much more easier, or somebody else is benefiting way more than you are from whatever it is you're doing, and you are just taking a small fraction of whatever they are benefiting from. If you have this mindset, right, of being able to, there's different ways of doing that. So you're solving somebody else's problem, and you're making it so that they're just fanatical about your ability to solve this problem, or teach other people so that they can go out and solve other people's problems. Those two things are going to help you grow tremendously. Not only as a person, it's going to make you feel amazing, right? But the other component of that is that the wealth that you're generating, it is going to come in other ways that you couldn't possibly imagine. It's going to come in, and you are going to find different alternative sources, right? So if you are just out there, so one way that you can do this is just to give as much as you can online. For example, so you are a computer scientist and you start sharing all of the ways that you can help out with people with different code and stuff like that, right? So different lines of code, maybe different algorithms, faster way of doing things, sort of tips and tricks. What's going to happen is you are going to start getting known for that ability, right? That you have all of these tips and tricks, and it's going to be really exciting for other people. And what they're going to do is whenever they have a problem, they're going to default to you, and that's going to be thousands of people might default to you, which is really cool. But then on the other side of it, and this is, you're just helping people, right? The other side of it that you're not going to see is that it's going to become easier. You're going to get probably more opportunities in the long run from people saying, oh, there's this really cool person over here that's giving all this help. Maybe we can invite them to be a speaker, for example, at something. Or, man, this person is really smart. Maybe we can help them. Maybe they can help us out as sort of a consulting gig or something along those lines that you have to think about, right? So those are the ways. If you're giving as much as you can and teaching as many people as you can, you're going to create what is called a resource or develop a capability that is in strategic management sense. It's going to be valuable. Lots of people are going to really want it. It's going to be rare. It's not a lot of people do this. This is kind of a really strange thing. It's going to be inimitable. um, it's difficult to copy. Not everybody has the particular experiences that you have, and that this ability of doing whatever it is. Most people don't have that. I can guarantee it because they have different experiences in their background. And the other thing is that it's non-substitutable, and you can't use another something else to substitute for that thing that you're doing, whatever you're giving, right? So that's really important. That's actually a way to create what is called the sustainable competitive advantage. I'm going to put that in another video shortly. You can look in what is a competitive advantage. You can watch that in a few more days. Um, so those are the critical components of actually being able to generate more wealth and to increase the wealth that you have, or grow your company. So if you're thinking about your company, you got to create a culture in the company. You got to create relationships in the company that allow you to just to give as much as you possibly can and to be awesome as much as you possibly can. And then if you are giving and being as awesome as much as you can, you only take a small fraction of that value that's being created. If you think of most companies that are out there, that's what they're doing. They are giving, they're making people happy as much as they possibly can, and then they're taking only a small fraction of that. Even a restaurant like McDonald's, for example, I love McDonald's, what they do in, I might get some haters from saying this, but they are generating an immense amount of value for what you get. You have this great, wonderful family experience that you go in there, and the food is very, very inexpensive, as well as they are constantly thinking about ways to improve this experience, make it more family oriented, maybe make the food more expensive, and it'll last 10, 15 years. They've been under, maybe 20 years, they've been under a tremendous amount of pressure to increase both their sort of operational side with the meat that they're providing, making sure that it's coming from sort of sustainable sources, as well as increasing or making the food better for you, right? So removing different ingredients and components and adding more stuff to the menu to make it healthier, making healthier options. So they're constantly thinking about that in a way to generate value, right? If they weren't, nobody would go, right? So this is the funny thing that I always think is really funny with McDonald's, is that most people they're ashamed to say that they go to McDonald's, but how else would they be serving billions and billions of people if people are not going and they're seeing value in that? If you didn't see value, you wouldn't go. There would be no reason to go. So that's why that's how you actually generate wealth, and you make more money, and you increase your company's growth trajectory as much as possible, is you focus on providing value and just appropriating a small amount of that value in whatever way it is. So you're giving far more than you're getting. And that's a really cool, fun thing to do. Personally, I think you're going to really enjoy that process. And it's going to be much more than thinking about, oh, how can I get more money and be all blah, 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 right? You have to think about, how can I actually help other people? It's going to make you feel wonderful when you do that, as well as you're going to get all these other opportunities that come towards you. So that's one thing you have to focus on. So if you like these videos and you think they're really interesting, make sure you do subscribe. For those of you who are already subscribed, thank you so much. You're so cool. You're amazing. Ta-da! If you like the video as well, make sure you do a thumbs up. If you don't like it, you can do that as well. That's fine. And if you want to help out with reciprocity, you can check out the other videos that helps with the sort of search engine stuff. And as well as you can go onto the platform and sort of play around. If you want to buy credits, you're welcome to do that. If not, that's fine as well. You can just check it out and see what I'm doing. That's it. Have a good day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.